العلم أشراف مطلوب وطالبه لله أكرام من يمشي على قدمه. العلم نور مبين يستضيء به أهل السعادات والجهال في الظلم.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه. إن أصدق الحديث كتاب الله تعالى، وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم، وشر الأمور محدثاتها، وكل محدثة بدعة، وكل بدعة ضلالة، وكل ضلالة في النار. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام
All
ورحمة الله
praise and
وبركاته.
thanks belong to Allah Azza wa Jal, the Lord, creator and sustainer of the heavens and the earth. We place our choicest greetings and blessings upon the most beloved of Allah's creation, the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, upon his family members, upon his companions, and upon all of those who follow his blessed way of life until the end of times. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us from them. Inshallah ta'ala, ahlan wa sahlan wa marhaban bikum. This class, inshallah ta'ala, will keep it to a maximum of about 30 minutes, inshallah. So starting now, in 30 minutes, inshallah ta'ala, I will stop, inshallah ta'ala. So the last discussion that we had was وأما واجبات الحج فخمسة. الأول الإحرام من الميقات، الثاني المبيت بمزدلفة ليلة النحر، الثالث المبيت بمنى ليالي أيام التشريك، ويكفي مبيت معظم الليل من هذه الليالي، الرابع رمي الجمار الثلاث، الخامس اجتناب محرمات الإحرام، وأما طواف الوداع فواجب مستقل. Inshallah ta'ala, tonight inshallah we will do one chapter and then call it a night inshallah. Okay, so we stopped at المبيت بمزدلفة ليلة النحر وتكفي لحظة من النصف الثاني من هذه الليلة. We said the second wajib of Hajj is to do the mabit, to spend time at Muzdalifah ليلة النحر, the night before يوم النحر. All right, ليلة النحر. And what is the requirement for you to fulfill that wajib? The requirement is وتكفي لحظة من النصف الثاني من هذه الليلة, a portion beyond the second part of the night, that will suffice. So that means if you divide the night into two parts and you come to Nisful Layl, and we said Nisful Layl should not be confused, it's not synonymous with 12 o'clock. Nisful Layl can be 11:30. If you split the night in two, if you spend, for argument's sake, let's say Nisful Layl is 11:30, and then you reach there at 11:30, and you stay for until 11:40, or say you stay till 11:50 for that matter. You have remained more than a lahza above and beyond over the first half. You've gone into the second half of the night. So that would, according to the Shafi'i school, and this is a matter of difference of opinion, according to the Shafi'i madhab, you have fulfilled the wajib of al-mabit bi Muzdalifah. So we're not saying you need to be there from Maghrib. You need to be there for a moment in the second part of the night. If you reach there 10 minutes before the Fajr Adhan, then you have fulfilled the wajib. Why? Because it is a lahza, it is actually more than a lahza, and it is fi nisfi thani min al-layl. That's important to keep in mind. This is the wajib when it comes to the mabit bi Muzdalifah. There's a different wajib that comes with the mabit bi Mina, layal ayam al-tashriq. So there's great difference of opinion among the ulama when it comes to the mabit bi Muzdalifah. That's why when you read a book like Matan Abi Suja, the author rahimahullah ta'ala does not mention the mabit among the wajibatul hajj. That's why Imam al-Rafi rahimahullah ta'ala, one of the shaykhain in the madhab, he viewed the mabit, the entirety of the mabit, he considered it a sunnah practice and not a. So there are certain masail in Matan Abi Suja that goes against the mu'tamad of the madhab, and this is one of those issues. Other scholars have gone as far, and this is Taqiyuddin al-Subki, he said it's not a wajib, it's a rukn of hajj. But the mu'tamad of the madhab is that it is a wajibun min al-wajibat. It is one of the wajibs of the wajibats of Hajj. So even if you're just passing Mina, even if you're just passing Muzdalifah, in the second part of the night, then you would have fulfilled the wajib. That's just important. So remember the books of fiqh, when the books of fiqh speak in a technical manner, it's descriptive. They're not telling you what's best to do. They're telling you they're describing to you the minimum. Obviously, the best practice is to get there by Maghrib, to get there by Isha, and to remain there until Fajr the next morning. That is the sunnah. That is the recommended way of doing it. However, what is the minimum requirement? The second part of the night, to be there for one moment. So if you're just passing there with your car, then you would have fulfilled the wajib of al-mabit bi Muzdalifah. Is everybody with me? Who are those who are excused from this wajib? The scholars say those who are excused from this wajib are the sick, and the person who's sick and ill, the person, then mabit bi Muzdalifah falls away and there's no dam upon that person. When there is those stuck in the zahma, the ziham, and they can't get, for some reason or the other, they can't get to Muzdalifah within that given period, then there's no dam upon them as well. Those who look after the sick people, it falls away from them. And those who directly went from Arafah, instead of going to Muzdalifah, they went to Makkah to make their tawaf, to do their tawaf. And they couldn't make it back to Muzdalifah. The scholars say in the Shāfiʿī madhab that these are the categories that they are the ma'zurun, they are excused in relation to al-mabit bi Muzdalifah. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. So the scholars say, what's the requirement? To be in Muzdalifah for a moment in the second part of the night. And that's why if a person has left Muzdalifah before the second part of the night, maybe 10 o'clock he left Muzdalifah, and he does not come back, then there's a dam upon him. But if he comes back before Fajr time, then there is no dam upon him. And this is normally where it is recommended to take your stones that you will be pelting on the third day, and on the days of Tashriq, you will take your stones at Muzdalifah. It's not compulsory, but that's where people generally collect their stones. الثالث, the third wajib, min wajibat al-hajj, and we explain the difference between the two, and we'll explain it again, is al-mabid bimina layaliya ayyam al-tashriq. To spend time at Mina during the nights of Tashriq. And the requirement here is different to what it is at Muzdalifah, the mabit by Muzdalifah. We said the mabit by Muzdalifah is the second part of the night. The minimum is you be there a moment. When it comes to the mabit at Mina, which is day number 4, 5, and 6 of Hajj, you need to be there mu'dhamul layl, most of the night. Aktharul layl, most of the night. You need to be there most of the night. So what does that look like? You look at Maghrib time and you look at Fajr time. And if you reach the half and you just go beyond the half from Maghrib time, that's obviously if you're there from Maghrib time. The later you come, then your mu'adhamul layl will look differently. I'm just working from Maghrib now. Say midnight is, nisful layl is at 11:30. If you stay till 11:35, then you have been in Mina for mu'adhamul layl, and then you can do what you want to. You can leave Mina. However, the recommended practice is to stay there until the next day, and that's what most people do. The Laylatul Thalitha, the third night, falls away if you leave the day before. Remember, the night precedes the day. So if you have left the night before Maghrib, then the third mabit falls away. The third mabit falls away. What if you missed one night? What is the requirement? Many people assume that if you miss one night from the 3 nights, then there's a dam upon you. No. The dam is only applicable when you miss all 3 nights. When you miss one night, there is a mud upon you, a fidya, which is a mud. And a mud is about 600 grams of staple food that you need to give to the people of the haram, or the cash equivalent. Or the cash equivalent. So someone who misses one night of mabit on Mina, on the layali ayyam tashriq, they will give 1 mud for that night. The dam is only applicable when you miss all the mabits. Then the dam is applicable. According to the Hanafi school, they view al-mabit bimina layali ayyam tashriq as a recommended practice. And thus, if one leaves it out, they don't view it as favorable to leave it out, but there is no fidya due upon you, no penalty due upon you for leaving it out. You've left out a sunnah. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. So the next wajib min wajibat al-hajj is ramyul jimar al-thalath. Pelting the 3 jamarat. Now remember, you pelt the jamarat on the day of Nahar, but you only pelt the 1 jamara, jamratul aqaba. On the days of Tashriq, you pelt all 3 jamarat. You pelt all 3 jamarat. So if you pelt the day of Nahar, and you pelt the first day of Tashriq, and you pelt the second day of Tashriq, then you will pelt 49 times. So there will be 49 pebbles. Because of the day of Nahar, that's 7. That's 7. And the first day of Tashriq, that's 21. Because each jamra is pelted 3 times. The smallest jamra, al-Sughra, the middle jamra, and then jamratul aqaba. Each one 7 times, which will be 21. And the second day will be 21. And if you want to leave, you leave before Maghrib and you don't do the third day. If you, however, stay for the third day, then you have to pelt for the third day as well. And that will be 70 peltings, or 70 pebbles. That will be the day of Nahar. That's only Jamratul Aqaba. The first day of Tashriq, 21 times. The second day of Tashriq, 21 times. And the third day of Tashriq, 21 times. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Similarly, with the pelting of the jamarat, only when you leave out 3 or more peltings, 3 or more pebbles. So, example, the first jamra you threw 7 times, the second jamra you threw 7 times, and then the third jamra you perhaps only threw 3 times and not 7 times. So only when you leave out 3 or more peltings does the dam become an obligation upon you. So if you left out 1 throwing, there's no dam upon you. Similarly, if you left out 2 throwings, there's no dam upon you. So remember, you throw on the day of Nahar, which is day number 3 of Hajj, but you only throw the 1 jamara. Day number 4, 5, and 6, you'll throw all 3 jamarat 7 times each. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. When you throw on the days of Tashriq, we start with the smallest jamra, which is closest to Masjidul Khayf, and then the middle, and then Al-Aqaba, the biggest one. The biggest one. With regards to Ramyul Jimar, the madhab allows, if you are unable for some reason or the other, you're sick, you're unable, you're physically exhausted, you can appoint someone to throw on your behalf. You can appoint another muhrim to do it on your behalf. You can even appoint someone who's not in ihram. So maybe there's a worker there that works, there's a cleaner, and you tell him, look, I'll pay you, pelt on my behalf. Then that is also permitted. The muhrim, they will first throw for themselves. They will first throw for themselves, and then they will throw for you. So there's a difference of opinion among scholars. Some scholars say when you pelt your smallest jamara, then the middle jamara, then the big jamara, and then you come back and you throw for the other person on behalf of the other person. Some scholars say you throw the small jamara and then you throw for the other person. Then you throw for yourself the middle jamara and then for the other person. And then you throw the biggest jamara for yourself and then for the other person. And that is obviously closer to convenience and it's more better to do with it in that way, or easy to do it in that way. Inshallah ta'ala. We also mentioned that the time of the rami. Now there's two ramis, right? There's one that you do on Yawm al-Nahr, and there's one that you do on the Ayyam al-Tashriq. The one that you do on Yawm al-Nahr, that Ramyul Jimar, that pelting of the Jamratul Aqaba enters when the second part of the night enters, basically. So midnight, 11:30 for that example. I'm not using 12 o'clock because it causes confusion. 11:30 is midnight for argument's sake. A moment, if that has passed, then you can leave and you can immediately pelt your Jamratul Aqaba. And it ends basically on the last day of Tashriq. The pelting of the day of Nahr ends on the last day of Tashriq. So if you haven't done it, you can do it at that time. After that, meaning after the days of Hajj, then it becomes Qada. As for the pelting of the Jamarat on the days of Tashriq, then it starts at the time of Zawal. It starts on the time of Zawal of the first day of Tashriq. And also, it ends at Maghrib time of the last day of Tashriq. So if you didn't throw on the first day, you can throw for the first day and the second day on the second day. If you didn't do it on the first day and the second day, you can throw first, second, and third day on the third day. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. The scholars also mention from among the sunnahs, Allah Azza wa Jal says in the Quran, with regards to the days of Tashriq, Allah says, وَاذْكُرُوا اللَّهَ فِي أَيَّامٍ مَعْلُومَاتٍ. And remember Allah in these specific and known days. And they say these days refer to the days of Tashriq. Thus, after Salah, it is recommended to do the Takbir. After slaughtering, it is recommended to do the Takbir. And after pelting the Jamarat, it is recommended to do the Takbir. والتكبير في تلك الأيام, in those days, to do the takbir عقب كل صلاة ولو فائتة ونافلة. You can do the takbir after each and every salah, whether it is nafil salah or fard salah, whether it is qada salah or salah that you're performing on time. In the case of the non-haji, someone who's not performing hajj, the takbir of the non-haji starts on the subuh, the day of Arafah, and it ends after Asr on the last day of Tashriq. This is for the non-Haji. As for the Hajj, someone who's doing the Hajj, they start doing the Takbir at the time of Dhuhr on the day of Nahr, and obviously it ends after Asr on the last day of Tashriq. So there's a difference between the Hajj and the Ghayrul Hajj. Now, with regards to the issue, obviously, as we know, for those who have performed Hajj, you know now, the time of pelting the Jamarat on the days of Tashriq enters at the time of Zawal, meaning you can't do it before Zawal. It will be considered invalid according to the majority of the scholars. However, the Saudi government, they designate certain time slots for certain countries. Now there's an opinion among the Shafi'i scholars, such as Imam al-Haramain al-Juwayni and Imam al-Rafi rahimahullah ta'ala, who allowed the pelting on the days of Tashriq, even before Zawal. This is a weak view within the madhab, but it's there. I didn't know that opinion exists because normally when people speak about this mas'ala, they quote the Hanafi school. They say the Hanafi school and some of the Salaf, like Atta bin Abi Rabah, some of the Salaf used to allow it, but now I found out that there's even some of the Shafi'i ulama who allowed the pelting of the jamarat before the Zawal. However, the majority and the preponderant view on this issue is that it should be done after Zawal has entered. And Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. The author rahimahullah ta'ala goes on and he says, Al-Khamis ijtinab muharramat al-ihram, avoiding the things that are forbidden. Some scholars call it the mahdhurat of ihram, those things that that is haram to do whilst in the state of ihram. And we said that the dam in Hajj only applies to two things. When you leave out a wajib, so one of these things, and when you perpetrate one of the muharramatul ihram. One of the muharramatul ihram. And then the author rahimahullah says, أما الطواف الوداعي, as for طواف الوداع فواجب مستقل. He says this is an independent wajib, not connected to Hajj. Why? Because the Shafi'i scholars state that anyone leaving Makkah to a place that is 83 kilometers, 80 kilometers or more, which is Masafat al-Qasr, anyone who goes out of Makkah for a distance of 80 kilometers or more, those are the people that need to do the Tawaful Wada'. Those are the people that need to do Tawaful Wada'. And not the people of Makkah. If they are doing Hajj, they don't do Tawaful Wada' because they are based in Makkah. But anyone who travels out, who lives outside of Makkah for 80 kilometers or more, they have to do the Tawaful Wada'. And that's why the scholars say, because it doesn't apply to the people of Makkah, it's an independent act of worship, not connected to the Hajj. The Shafi madhab states that even we have something called a Tawaful Wada' even for Umrah. Even for Umrah. And thus, this Tawaful Wada', this farewell Tawaf, if it is left out, then there's a dam upon you. If you have traveled a distance of marhalatain, 80 kilometers, and you come back and you do the tawaf, then the dam drops. Then there's no dam upon you. Then there are certain categories of people who are not required to do the tawaful wada'. The most famous being the ha'id. The Prophet ﷺ said, we were ordered that our akhirul ahd, that our last contact be with the Kaaba, that we do the tawaful wada'. Illa annahu khuffifa anil ha'id. Except that Allah has made it light upon the ha'id. So the scholars say, who are those that are exempted from the tawaful wada'? The tawaful wada'? It's the ha'id, the lady in haid, the nufasa, the lady in a state of menses, the salasul bawl, the person in a perpetual state of, he has a drip problem. Number 4, those afflicted with najis, and they fear that they will soil the masjid. And number 5, someone who has no access to water or to turab, which is basically impossible in current day Makkah, the faqid al-tahurain. From among the recommended practices after doing tawaf is that after doing tawaf, we do the 2 rak'ahs, which is called the rak'atay tawaf. And then it's recommended after that to go to the multazam. And the multazam is the place between the black stone and the door of the Kaaba, that space. And then to place yourself against it. And to stretch your hands out and to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We now go on to the next chapter, inshallah ta'ala. I'll stop at 9:30. Sunanul Hajji, the recommended practices of Hajj. والفرق بينها وبين الأركان والواجبات. The recommended practices of Hajj and the differences between it, sunnahs, and the arkan and the wajibat. What is the difference between these 3 categories? Because we said Hajj is made up of these 3 types of actions: sunan, arkan, and wajibat. He says, أما سننه فأذكر منها ما تيسر. He says, as for the sunnahs of Hajj, I will mention that which is easy, that which is easy to mention. فَمَنْ تَرَكَ رُكْنًا. Here he mentions the difference now. Whoever leaves a rukn من الحج أو من العمرة لم يصح حجه ولا عمرته. Whoever leaves out a rukn from the Hajj or from the Umrah. And we said Hajj has how many arkan? 6. And Umrah has how many arkan? 4. Whoever leaves out, we can say Umrah has 5 if you include Tartib as well. Whoever leaves out a rukn from the Hajj or the Umrah, لم يصح حجه ولا عمرته. His Hajj and his Umrah will not be valid. His Hajj and his Umrah will not be valid. We said with regards to Hajj, the only arkan that cannot be made up, that cannot be caught, is the ihram and the wukuf. If those two arkan, or ruknani, are missed, your Hajj is invalid. You can't make it up. As for the remaining arkan, such as the tawaf al-ifada and the sa'i and the halq or taqsir, that you can even do after the days of Hajj. When is the cut-off for ihram to make the intention for Hajj? And when is the cut-off for wukuf? Who can tell us? The cut-off for your ihram and the cut-off period for wukuf is Fajr. It's Fajr. Not يوم التاسع. What is the cut-off for to make your intention for Hajj and for to get Arafah?
فجر يوم النحر.
Fajr يوم النحر. So يوم العاشر. If you don't make your intention for Hajj, say example, no, I know it sounds crazy, but say example, someone never made the Hajj. Someone never said, نويت الحج وأحرمت به. Never said that. Or نويت العمرة وحرمت بها. They never said that. And they've entered Makkah. They have the opportunity to make that intention up until Fajr of the 3rd day of Hajj. Yes, they've missed out a wajib, but at least they've fulfilled the rukn. If the adhan of the 3rd day of Fajr on the 3rd day of Hajj goes, then you can't make the niyyah now. Because now you've also missed Arafah. So those two basically, they leave at the same time. As for the tawaf al-ifada, the sa'i and the halq and taqsir, that you can do, that doesn't have a cut-off time. So whoever leaves at a rukn of Hajj or Umrah, لم يصح حج ولا عمرته. لم يصح حجه ولا عمرته. ولا يحل من إحرامه. And that person cannot exit from the state of Ihram حتى يأتي به, until he does it. That is only applicable to Tawaf al-Ifada, Sa'i and Halq. You can't, that doesn't apply to the Ihram and because for Ihram, if you didn't ever make the intention for Hajj, you are not in Hajj. And with regards to the wukuf, if you've missed the wukuf, what do you have to do? You have to go perform an Umrah and get out of Ihram. وَلَا يُجْبَرْ بِدَمٍ وَلَا بِغَيْرِهِ. A rukn, if left out, cannot be made up through a penalty, nor with anything else. That's clear. وَأَمَّا الْوَاجِبَاتِ. As for the wajibat, فَمَنْ تَرَكَ مِنْهَا شَيْئًا. Whoever leaves out anything, whoever leaves out a wajib min wajibat al-hajj, lazimahu damun. A dam becomes compulsory on that person. And what is a dam? A dam is a sheep, mujzi'a fil udhiyah, that will be valid in udhiyah. So if he leaves out a wajib min wajibat al-hajj, lazima damun wa sahha hajjuhu wa umratuhu, and his hajj and his umrah will be valid. As we said, hajj has arkan and umrah has arkan. Hajj has wajibat and umrah also has wajibat. Hajj has sunan and Umrah has sunan. وأما السنن, as for the sunan, فمن ترك منها شيئا, whoever leaves out anything from the sunnah practices, فلا شيء عليه, then there's nothing upon him. إذا علمت ذلك فنقول, if you know and you understand that, then now he goes to the sunnahs of ihram. He says, من أراد الإحرام, whoever intends to enter the state of ihram, he intends umrah, who intends hajj, he intends tamattu', he intends ifrad, he intends qiran. سنة له أن يغتسل. Sunnah. Sanna yasunnu was sunnah yusannu. It is sunnah. It is recommended له for him أن يغتسل, to take a ghusl. Did anyone want to ask something? Okay. ويلبس والسنة له أن يلبس. And it is sunnah for him to wear إزارا ورداء. And izar, what's an izar? A lower garment, a bottom wrap. ورداء, and an upper wrap, a top shawl. أبيضين, that are both white. أبيضين is mansub because إزارا ورداء is mansub. مفعول به. ثم يصلي والسنة له أن يصلي. And it is sunnah for him to do what? أن يصلي ركعتين, to pray two units of prayer. سنة الإحرام, the sunnah of ihram. Now the sunnatul ihram is a contested issue because many scholars say there is no particular sunnahs of ihram. So there's just a fa'idah on this, just a point of benefit on this. Certain salahs, certain sunnah salahs, they have asbab, they have reasons why you perform them. Those reasons are either mutaqaddim, those reasons either come before the salah, or they happen at the same time of the salah, or they are after the salah. So in the case of sunnatul ihram, the reason for which you are performing salah, does it take place before the ihram or after the ihram? Do you perform the 2 units before you enter in the state of ihram or after you've entered into the state of ihram?
After.
You perform the 2 units before you enter the state of ihram, not after. So this is an example of a sunnah salah that has a sabab mutaakhir. Tahiyatul masjid. The sabab is first and then you make the salah. You enter the masjid, that's the sabab. That's the sabab. Then you pray. So the salah, the sabab comes before. So in the case of a salah, where the sabab is mutaqaddim or the sabab is at the same time, those salahs, you can do it even in the times that it is makruh. As for a salah, that the sabab thereof is mutaakhir, meaning you're performing the salah and then you're going to do the sabab, which is entering into the state of ihram, those salahs you cannot do in the times that it is makruh. And how many times are there? How many times are there that are makruh to pray in? There are 5 times. It's easy. After Fajr, after the Fard of Fajr, immediately after the Fard of Fajr, and at the time of sunrise. After the Fard of Asr, and at the time of sunset, and at the time of Istiwa Shams, which is just before Zawal, which is a very short period of time. Very short period of time. Those are the 5 times that we are not allowed to pray. Now there's a difference in the Shāfi'ī madhab. Is it makruh tahrimi or is it makruh tanzih? The consequence is the same. If you pray a salah in one of those 5 times, or you pray this salah, a sunnah where the sabab is mutaakhir, whether you say it's makruh tahrim or makruh tanzih, in both cases the salah will not be valid. The only difference is if you say it's makruh tahrim, you will be sinful, and in the case of makruh tanzih, you won't be sinful. But in both cases, the salah will not be valid. It's like you're just making exercise. The salah is not valid. You need to, this is obviously, we're excluding salah, those sunnah salahs that have asbab mutaqaddima, or the asbab are at the same time, and like fard salah and qada salah, those are all exempted. So the Sunnatul Ihram, the Shafi madhab states, if you perform a fard salah, if your time that you enter into the state of ihram, before you're going to enter the state of ihram, there's a fard salah happening, then that fard salah takes the place of Sunnatul Ihram. Or it's some other sunnah salah that you're performing, then that sunnah salah takes the place of Sunnatul Ihram. You don't need to make an independent Sunnatul Ihram. And what do you recite? The Shafi madhab states, قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ in the first rak'ah, and قُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدْ in the second rak'ah. And then after that you enter into the state of ihram, meaning you say in your mind, obviously, نويت الحج وأحرمت به لله تعالى, or نويت العمرة وأحرمت بها, or نويت الحج والعمرة وأحرمت بهما. Then you go into the state of ihram. Now there's a difference of opinion within the Shafi madhab. When do you go? When is it recommended to go into the state of ihram? After you have finished the salah immediately, or if you get onto the bus and the bus starts moving? What do you guys think?
بعد النية.
Say that again. I didn't get that.
After the knee.
No, Maulana is putting off Maulana's mic too quickly. I just said, and then,
I said after the niyyah.
no, when I'm speaking about the ihram, entering the state of ihram, I'm referring to the niyyah. When do you enter that state? When do you make that niyyah? Do you make it after you've prayed the salah, after you finish the 2 rak'ahs, the sunnah rak'ahs, or do you make it, or do you do it when you get on the bus and the bus starts moving?
After the sunnah salah.
So there's a weak hadith by Ibn Abbas in Abu Dawud that suggests that the Prophet ﷺ would do it after he finished his prayer. However, the stronger position is, the Sahaba said, when the Prophet ﷺ, when his mount, حَتَّى تَنْبَعِث رَاحِلَتُهُ, when his mount would start walking, the Prophet would start reciting the talbiyah, which indicate the Prophet ﷺ made his intention at that time. And so that's why the Shafi madhab says, the moment you start moving, that's the best time to make the niyyah. So if you, example, leaving from Dhul Hulayfa, you get onto the bus, you have your clothes on, you just came out of the masjid, you're sitting on the bus, and now the guy starts up the bus and he starts moving, and that's where you say, in your mind, نويت العمرة لله تعالى وأحرمت بها. Depending what you do. If you're doing tamattu, then you're first going to enter with umrah. When you come into Makkah, you're going to finish your umrah, exit from the state of ihram. And when the days of Hajj come, in your hotel, you're going to enter into the state of ihram for Hajj. If you're doing ifrad, then at Dhul Hulayfa, you're going to say nawaitul Hajj. I intend Hajj. Wa haramtu bihi. And if you're doing Qiran, you're going to say nawaitul Hajj wal Umrah. Because you're going to do one journey with dual intentions that covers both the Hajj and the Umrah. What our people do? Our people do the tamattu'. So when you leave Dhul Hulayfa, you will make the intention for Umrah. You will make the intention for Umrah. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. So remember, the niyyah, which is ihram, is wajib. And this is in the heart. And after that, the recommendation is to start the talbiyah, labayk Allahumma labayk, immediately after you have entered into the state of ihram. So it's important to know what ihram means. It means to make that intention. Oh Allah, I intend umrah. Wa ahramtu biha. And I've entered into the state of ihram. فَتَقَبَّلْ ha minni. Accept it from me. وَيَسِّرْهَا li. And make it easy for me. That's the ihram. That is the state. Now you are in the state of ihram. The author rahimahullah ta'ala then goes on. Just remember that on the day of Nahr, there are 3 actions that you need to do to exit from the state of ihram. There's the pelting of the Jamratul Aqaba. There's the tawaf and the sa'i, we consider them as one. and there's the shaving or the trimming of your hair. When you do two of those three things, then you are in at-tahallul al-awwal, minor release, partial release. Cape Town vernacular, klein verlossing. Meaning all those things that we will discuss now, the muharramatul ihram, all those things now, you are allowed to do them except intimacy with your spouse. When you do the third, meaning maybe you pelted Jamrat al-Aqaba and you made your tawaf in the sa'i, and now you shave your hair, then you are in at-tahallul al-thani, full release. Cape Town vernacular, groot verlossing. And then you can even include in those things that you're allowed to do is intimacy with your spouse. I forgot to mention that. The author rahimahullah ta'ala goes on, who wants to read for us inshallah ta'ala? Muharramatul ihram. Where does the dam apply to? And the fidya, it applies to leaving out a wajib and it applies to committing one. So leaving out a wajib and doing one of the muharramatul ihram. And this is where we'll stop inshallah ta'ala. وَإِذَا أَحْرَمَ بِشَيْءٍ مِّن ذَلِكَ. When he has entered into ihram with any of that, Kiran, Ifrad, or Tamattu', حَرُمَ عَلَى الرَّجُلِ, or Umrah for that matter. Any of those intentions, he has entered into the state of ihram, حَرُمَ عَلى الرَّجُلِ. Then what becomes haram upon the rajul? The following things. سَتْرُ شَيْءٍ مِّن رَأْسِهِ. سَتْرُ شَيْءٍ مِّن رَأْسِهِ بِمَا يُعَدُّ سَاتِرًا كَخِرْقَةٍ وَإِصَابَةٍ. He says, it is covering any portion of your head, bima, with that which, that ma is ma mawsula, with that which, billadhi yu'addu satira, with that which is considered a satir. Now, what do we consider a head cover? That is left up to the urf. So what the urf considers a head cover, because from a language perspective, we have nothing in the language that defines what is a satir. And from a shar'i perspective, we have nothing that defines what a satir is. So we'll go back to the urf. A cap, a fez, a bandana, a turban, a shimagh, whatever, a hoodie, not the top part of the cap or the covering of the hoodie. All of those things will be considered a satir. So covering your head, any portion of your head, bima yu'addu satiran, with that which is considered a satir. So that's why it says kakhirqa, such as a band, wa isaba. Isaba is almost like a band. Khirqa is a piece of cloth, and isaba is almost like a bandana that you tie around your head. And when the muallif rahimahullah ta'ala says haruma ala rajuli, he doesn't mean only a person who is baligh, he even means a sabi, a child. So yeah, al-rajul is synonymous with a dhakar, a male. Haram upon the male, whether it's a child or an adult. To cover shay'in min al-ra'si or min ra'sihi bima yu'addu satiran ka khirqatin wa isabatin. The author then goes on, وَلَوْ اسْتَظَلَّ بِمَحَارَةٍ. If he takes shade bi-mahara, with a mahara. What's a mahara? A mahara is I don't know if you've seen those old pictures of the camels. On the hump of the camel, they place a little box that someone sits in. That's a mahara. It's a mahmil. If he takes shade in this little box on the back of a camel, أو إن غمس في ماء, or he dips himself completely, submerges himself into water, meaning his head is covered in water. أو وضع يده على رأسه, or he places his hand on his head. لم يضره. This will not affect him. It does not contravene the ihram, because those things are not considered a satir. Those things are not considered a satir. So what will harm and what will necessitate a fidya is like wearing a turban or a cap. Number two, What will not harm you unrestrictedly is that which is not considered a satir, such as a mahara, such as dipping, going underwater, such as, keeping your head above your hand above your head, all of those things. Then the author rahimahullah ta'ala goes on and he says, وَيَحْرُمْ عَلَيْهِ, and it is haram upon the male, سَتْرُ شَيْءٍ مِّن بَدَنِهِ, to cover any portion of his body, بِمَا يُحِيطُ بِهِ, that which encompasses it. So meaning, the scholars say you should avoid that which is muhit and makhit. That which is muhit, that covers your body in a way that it has sleeves. It has it has like a neck area where you put your neck through. That's muhit. And makhit, it is stitched. So clothing that is stitched according to the shape of your body, that you have to avoid. كَقَمِيصٍ, such as like a thobe, because a thobe is stitched according to the body. وَسَرَاوِيل, pants. وَخُف, and a leather sock. These are all stitched according to the body. The author rahimahullah ta'ala goes on, and the scholars say, as for when it comes to wearing sandals and shoes, with regards to the male, this is primarily for the male, any sandal that you wear that exposes the heel and the tips of the toes, that is fine. Any sandal or thing that you wear that exposes the heel and the tips of the toes, that is allowed. Number 2, if the heel is covered and the toes are exposed, or the opposite, the toes are covered and the heel is exposed, then that will not be valid. That will not be valid. So if the heel is covered, it will not be valid. If the top of the toes are covered, that will not be valid. If both are covered, obviously that will not be valid. So whatever you wear should fulfill that requirement. The heel should be exposed and the top of the toes should be exposed. So if the heel is covered and the top of the toes are exposed, or the opposite, that will not be allowed, except in a scenario where you cannot find something that exposes your heel and the top of the toes. And there are some more details regarding that I'm not going into. So the author rahimahullah says, وَيَجُوزُ أَنْ يَرْتَدِيَ بِقَمِيصٍ وَبِإِزَارٍ مُرَقَّعٍ. It is permissible to wear as a rida. Yartadiya means to wear as a rida. Biqamisin. What is a rida? Rida is the opposite, the top part of the ihram set. It is permissible to wear as a rida a qamis, a shirt. Wabi-izar. So how you will wear the shirt, not in the normal way, but you will wear it like you would wear like the towel that you wear. And it is also allowed for you to wear izar, a lower towel, muraqqa, that's like pieces of cloth that you have put together. Pieces of cloth that you have put together. Inshallah ta'ala, we will stop there for tonight, inshallah. And we'll continue on a night that is suitable. Bi-idhnillahi al-kareem. Barakallah feekum and jazakumullah khairan for coming. If there are any questions, inshallah ta'ala, feel free to ask. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.